He's Just Not That Into You. The book is the brainchild of two of the authors of Sex and the City, Gregorio and Liz Tuccillo, who, inspired by an episode of the series in 2004, published this irreverent, comical, sometimes annoying, but certainly enlightening book. The episode was the one in which Miranda asks her friend-boyfriend to describe to her the behavior a man assumes if he is really interested in a woman. This was the first part that started the creation of what can almost be described as a manual for single women who too often settle for lukewarm feelings and unsatisfying romances. In fact, the book is structured as a repartee between the authors and the readers. There is no proper written text. Our precious guide is composed of letters that women of all ages, temperaments, and social backgrounds send to the editorial office for answers, opinions, or practical advice regarding their romantic situation. The book analyzes the most disparate scenarios, reporting testimonies of various kinds, to offer examples of all the possible situations that can be presented to us and dispensing crude and frank truths, of which we are very often already aware, but which we pretend not to see, or find the most unthinkable excuses to justify those men who clearly do not have such a strong affection for us. The most interesting thing is to see the two points of view, the male and the female. Many times, in fact, women in throes of ambiguous situations, trapped by men as interesting as difficult to decipher, are given the answers of both Greg and Liz. The difference in views is obvious. While Liz tries to explain it all with a more accommodating logic, perhaps bringing her personal experience but nevertheless trying to find some good in the behavior adopted by women, most of the time irrational in this situation. Greg's opinion, on the other hand, is without filter, devoid of any shadow of pity or compassion. The male opinion goes straight to the point, and after analyzing individual situations in order to lead female readers to understand the reasons why certain attitudes of men are not to be justified, he always concludes with the usual sentence that leaves no room for misunderstanding. He's just not that into you. He makes man's brain speak, decoding all those attitudes that are little understood by us and are simply signs of disinterest. The book is divided into chapters, each one dedicated to the most recurrent problems. There are those women who dated married men, those who accept that their boyfriends treat them badly, those who are not asked out, those who are cheated on, those who are not proposed to after years, and many more. The common thread is always the same: women dealing with men who do not treat them as they deserve. At the end of each chapter, there is a nice summary containing everything we should have learned and the practical activity to do. For example, writing down the good reasons you have to ask a man out and not wait for him to do it, or a fun quiz to realize the reality of things. The last session is dedicated to frequently asked questions, among which we can read of women who were even angry after reading this book and realizing so brutally the situations they were trapped in. Understanding their readers and realizing how much a woman's outlook and behavior can change after dealing with the manual, the writers add a small appendix called Life After It's Just Not That Into You, to give advice on how to deal with this new approach toward men and themselves. Obviously, with the great success of the book, it was awarded as a bestseller by the New York Times and was presented at the Oprah Winfrey Show, it was impossible not to make a film out of it. In the film adaptation, the direct and masculine opinion comes from Alex, Justin Long, who meets Gigi, Jennifer Godwin, a naive girl in pursuit of love, who, just like the women who wrote to the editors, invents 1,000 excuses to justify the repeated lack of interest of the various men she dates. The film is made up of several stories that intertwine at the same time, of couple and non-couples grappling with all the issues addressed in the book. As for Lid's feminine outlook, we can see it embodied in the opinions of Gigi's friends, who understand their friend, but they always try to bring her back down to earth. But in a less brusque manner than Alex, who, just as Greg does in the written version, keeps telling her that if men do this, it is because they are not interested enough in her, and that fairy tale stories with unexpected endings are the exception, while she is the rule. An attempt is then also made in the film to respect a kind of chapter division, and thus, every now and again, the narrative is interrupted by two external characters, women, who make brief and amusing reflections on their past relationships, in order to launch the headline of the new theme to be addressed. Just as in the book, at one point a letter arrives asking why a manual is not made on the reactions of men when they are dumped by a woman. This truthful aspect is also noticeable in the film. The writer responds by saying that men do not read books to find out what to do when they are left. Rather, they get drunk, stand in front of your house and realize it is really over only when the police arrive to chase them away. Also in the film, we have this contrast between female reactions, which are more emotional and open to confide in their friends, and male reactions, which prefer to isolate themselves or have fun in order to forget. Here too, the same problems are discussed, such as guys who disappear after an evening together, husbands who cheat, men who do not decide to make the long-awaited proposal. The cast that was chosen for the occasion could not fail to bring success to this film, naturally already helped by the plot. Among the leading names there are Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Aniston, Ben Affleck and Scarlett Johansson, who play their characters masterfully, sometimes in an ironic way, as is the style of the book, but always conveying to the viewers the discomfort one feels when one finds oneself in such situations, making them realize that they are not alone, that they are in a very common situation and that there is a way out. In spite of this typically Hollywood ending, the film, as well as the book, opens our eyes and makes us realize that all the hours spent in front of the phone waiting for that fateful call could have been better spent. But the day will come for everyone when we too will feel like someone's exception.